It was just another late night in the city. The streets glistened under the dim glow of the streetlights, and the distant sound of sirens blended into the background. The clock on the dashboard read 2:37 a.m. Far too late for comfort, but exactly the right time for strange things to happen. The driver had been working since the evening, picking up and dropping off passengers without incident. But as he cruised through a quieter part of town, his phone buzzed, a new ride request. The pickup location? An abandoned gas station at the edge of the city. He hesitated for a moment. Something about the location felt off. But money was money, and a ride was a ride. He accepted the request and turned the wheel, heading toward the destination. As he approached, the gas station loomed ahead, lifeless. The fluorescent sign flickered weakly, barely holding on to its last breath of electricity. The place had been shut down for years. Why would anyone be waiting here at this hour? Then he saw her. A woman stood alone near the curb, dressed in an old-fashioned white dress, the kind you'd expect to see in a black and white film. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, and she barely moved as the car rolled up beside her. She didn't look cold. She didn't look impatient. She just stood there. The driver lowered the window slightly. "You called for a ride?" The woman nodded slowly and without a word stepped into the back seat. She settled in, hands folded neatly in her lap. The scent of something faintly floral lingered in the air, like perfume from another era. "Where to?" he asked, glancing at her through the rearview mirror. She whispered an address. It wasn't far, just outside the city limits. The strange thing was, he had never heard of it before. He typed it into the GPS, but no results came up. The address didn't exist. "Are you sure about that address?" he asked. She finally spoke, a soft, almost melodic voice. "Just drive. I'll tell you where to turn." The engine hummed as they pulled away from the gas station. The road stretched ahead, empty and quiet. The city lights faded behind them, and the darkness of the countryside took over. The woman sat in complete silence, her face barely visible in the dim glow of the dashboard lights. Minutes passed, and the unease grew heavier. The road twisted through unfamiliar territory. The driver stole glances in the mirror. The woman hadn't moved, hadn't shifted, hadn't even blinked. Then the temperature in the car dropped. The air felt heavier, the hairs on his arms stood on end. He cleared his throat. "So, were you waiting long?" No response. His fingers tightened on the wheel. "What were you doing at that gas station?" Still, nothing. He glanced back again, but she was gone. The seat was empty. His heart nearly stopped. He slammed the brakes, the tires screeching against the empty road. His breath came in short gasps as he twisted around, searching the back seat. The whisper from nowhere. The driver sat frozen, his mind racing. Had he imagined it? Had exhaustion finally gotten the best of him? Then, a soft whisper came from the back seat. "Keep driving." His blood ran cold. Slowly, he turned his head to the mirror. She was there. Only now, her face was different. Pale, hollow, eyes dark as the night itself. The driver's hands trembled as he gripped the wheel. He stomped the gas pedal, desperate to get away from whatever was in his car. The road stretched endlessly ahead, unfamiliar, winding through a thickening fog. The GPS still refused to register his location. It was as if he had driven straight out of the world he knew and into some place that wasn't meant to be found. Then suddenly, headlights. A truck barreled toward him from the fog, its horn blaring. He yanked the wheel, the car skidding off the road, flipping, rolling metal crunching against the earth. Then, silence, darkness. When he woke, he was lying on the road, blood pooling beneath his fingertips. His car was wrecked beyond recognition, and the truck was nowhere in sight. A lone streetlight flickered above him, and standing just a few feet away, the woman, her expression unreadable, her presence unnatural. Then she spoke, soft, distant. "You were never supposed to leave." The world around him dimmed, his vision blurred, his breath slowed, and the last thing he saw was the woman stepping closer until everything faded into nothingness. Some roads don't lead home, some rides never end.